وبركاته. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم نحمده ونصلي على رسوله الكريم أما بعد. باب بر الوالدين وصلة الأرحام. We continue our book Riyadus Saliheen by Imam Nawawi rahmatullah alayh. This is the 40th chapter of the book, and the chapter is with regards to great relationship or beautiful relationship with our parents and keeping ties with those that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has connected us with blood relationships. Yesterday we began with few ayats of the Quran. We continue from few other ayats of the Quran. Another ayat that Imam Nawawi rahmatullah alayhi brings in the beginning of the chapter is from Surah Bani Israel, verse number 23 and 24. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions and says, "Ba'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim, bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Wa qada rabbuka alla ta'budu illa iyyahu wa bil walidayni ihsana. إما يبلغن عندك الكبر أحدهما أو كلاهما فلا تقل لهما أف ولا تنهرهما إلى آخر الآيات." Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in this beautiful verse of the Quran, while speaking to us about hukam and the rulings from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, وَقَضَى رَبُّكَ, and qada in this particular ayat of the Quran refers to the direct commands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And from amongst the commands of our Rabb, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, upon us is that we do not ascribe any partners unto Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, illa iyyahu, that we do not worship anyone other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. That's number one thing. And وَبِالْ وَالِدَيْنِ إِحْسَانًا. So Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions shirk and of course belief as such an important component directly attached to parents, as we talked about yesterday. And then the ayat of the Quran says, when you treat your parents, treat them with ihsan. إِمَّا يَبْلُغَنَّ عِنْدَكَ الْكِبْرِ. If one or both of your parents reach an old age and you have found them and to be able to serve them, do not say even the word uff to them, and do not turn them away from you, and speak to them in the way that is قَوْلًا كَرِيمًا, in the most pleasant, in the most beautiful way. The Quran mentions, وَحْفِظْ لَهُمَا جَنَاحٍ, and spread for them your wings, which is a metaphoric statement that become so lenient and so humble and so kind and so generous for them at the time of this age that none of their words should feel difficult and painful for you. And then remember to make this dua continuously, and not only remember the dua but act upon this. وَقُلْ رَبِّ ارْحَمْهُمَا كَمَا رَبَّيَانِي صَغِيرًا, that oh Allah, have rahmah upon them as they had mercy upon us when we were young. Imam Qurtubi rahmatullah alayhi, and this is an ayat of the Quran that we can talk for such a long time. Imam Qurtubi rahmatullah alayhi, the great commentator of the Quran, mentions that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has mentioned the adab or the etiquettes or ihtiram, the respect and dignity of the parents, just as He has connected with ibadah, meaning do not worship anything other than Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, as one of the greatest forms of ibadah. So Imam Qurtubi rahmatullah alayhi mentions that serving your parents is one of the greatest forms of ibadat as well, right? It's a form of worship. Never consider this as a burden or something that's upon you, but consider this as an ibadah, as a form of finding the closeness of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Mujahid rahmatullah alayhi mentions, and he says that if your parents become old and you have to cleanse and clean after they have relieved themselves through urination or other ways, don't feel bad and do it as they used to clean you when you were young. Meaning, if a time comes that you have to take care of your parents at an elderly age, that even if you have to clean them with your own hands, then don't look down towards them that you have to do this. Consider this as an honor that Allah is teaching us in this ayat of the Quran. That don't even say, "Oof, that I can't do this," but do this as they used to take care of you when you were young, according to Mujahid rahmatullah alayhi. According to Ali ibn Abi Talib rahimahullah ta'ala anhu, he said that if there was anything less than the word uff itself with regards to, as they say, bi'adbi, in the sense of disrespect, Allah would have mentioned that word. And this is the least form that show no sort of disrespect to your parents. Hassan rahimahullah ta'ala anhu mentions, and someone asked him, Hassan rahmatullah alayhi, Hassan al-Basri, that what is the hudud or the limitation of where you define respect and disrespect of parents. And he said, do not deprive them of your wealth. Do not deprive them of your mal. Meaning when Allah gives you wealth, don't say this is mine. When their arms and their bodies have become fatigued and they become so weak that they cannot earn themselves, do not abandon them that now this is mine and this is not yours. That's number one. Do not make your parents mahroom of your mal and your wealth. Whatever you have and whatever you contain, it's all theirs. It's their milkiyat, it's their ownership. And number two, do not deprive them of your companionship. Unse milna na chhod do. Meaning don't deprive them of your association where you become so busy in your life and your family that your parents begin to feel abandoned, that my child does not exist in my life anymore. And never look at them with an eyesight, as they say, tez nigah se. Don't look at them with a sight that may even cause the least amount of pain to them. Meaning, don't even look towards them with a sight that may cause them pain in their heart. That they may not be able to say, because once they have reached a certain age, they will stop telling you things. Because it's not the time that they feel that you're mature and too old and that. Now, don't even look at them in a way that may cause pain towards them. So 3 things Hassan Basri rahmatullah alayhi said is the hudud and the limitations of what the honor of parents is. Number 1, do not deprive them of your mal and your wealth. When you had nothing, they raised you, they provided you, they nourished you, they cherished you, and your arms and your legs were weak and they held your hand and made you weak. And now if they become old and weak and they're not able to walk and earn themselves, and now you're saying it's my money, it's my wealth. Who took care of you when you were young? Who provided for you when you had nothing? So don't deprive them when they become old and weak and Allah grants you money and wealth. Number 2, do not deprive them of their companionship. As a young child, when you could not take a second off of the eyes from your mothers and fathers and you would always call for assistance and helps, and when your parents become of that age, be present for them. Be available for them. Be there before they even ask from you. Be present for them. And number 3, not even for a blink of an eye, look at them from a way that may make them feel uncomfortable. And the last word in this particular ayat of the Quran is qawlan karima. And when you speak to them in the words which are kareem. What does it mean? Hassan Basri rahmatullah alayhi mentions to call them in beautiful alqab, beautiful titles. Amma Jan, my beloved father, my beloved mother, meaning in the sense of love and compassion. Meaning call them with alqab and titles that are compassionate, full of love, rather than speaking to them, And subhanallah, this is the karam of Allah, that the wrath of Allah doesn't come. But if today, if our actions were to be judged, and how boys and girls, and not talking about anyone, even within the community as Muslims, call upon their own mothers and fathers. If it wasn't for the karam of Allah, the earth would split open and absorb everyone because of the sins that are happening against mothers and fathers, where children are beginning to not only use their words against their mother and father, but they're raising hands upon them. May Allah forgive and protect the ummah itself. So my dear respected brothers and elders, brothers and sisters in Islam, for those whose parents are alive, this is the least that we can do for them, right? Yes, there is differences, there are issues and problems in every home, that's fine. But the opportunity and time that Allah has given someone with their parents, please take care of them, please cherish them, and please be there for them. And do whatever you can from their capacity. And inshallah, if you give them your money, if you give them your time, if you give them whatever it is, Allah will give you barakah in that. If it's your money, Allah will increase your wealth. If it's your time that you're giving, Allah will give you barakah in your time. Because your parents are a source of barakah and blessings from Allah. Never think that your money and your time will ever be wasted. It will always be increased in multiple folds. And for those who don't have the parents, make continuous dua for them. Rabbi irhamhuma kama rabbayani saghira, as the ayat of the Quran reminds us from Surah Bani Israel, verse 23 and 24, to continuously make dua for them, give sadaqah on their behalf, and be a source that inshallah that continuously benefit from them. May Allah give us tawfiq and ability to practice. Subhanallah wa bihamdihi, subhanakallah.